The most dangerous person in 17th century France wasn't a king, a general, or an assassin in the shadows. It was an opera singer. Her name was Julie d'Aubigny. The official story calls her La Maupin, a celebrated soprano for the Paris Opera. A footnote in the history of music, but the official story is a lie. What the sanitized records don't tell you is that this woman was a master fencer who killed her first man in a duel before she was 16, that she fell in love with a young nun and to break her out of a convent, she set it on fire, that she was sentenced to death by burning, twice, and was pardoned by the King of France himself, twice, because she was simply too famous to kill. This isn't a character from a novel, this is a real woman whose life was so impossible, so defiant, that history has tried to bury her, to dilute her story into a quaint anecdote, but we have the fragments, the police reports, the diaries of her rivals, the royal decrees, and tonight, we piece them together. By the end of this, you will question every historical biography you've ever read. To understand the weapon, you must understand how it was forged. Born in 1673, Julie's father was the secretary to the king's master of horse. While other girls were learning needlepoint, Julie was in the royal stables, training alongside the court pages. Fencing, riding, drinking. She was raised not as a lady but as a boy. Her father's master, a man named Serenus, was one of the finest duelists in the country. He saw her fire, and he gave it a blade. Her first kill was Swift, a brash young nobleman who refused to take no for an answer. She called him out. He laughed, he died. She was barely a teenager. This set the pattern for her life, provocation, underestimation, victory, but her greatest rebellion was fueled by love. In Marseille, she met a beautiful young woman who was destined for the convent. Julie fell completely in love. When the girl's family forced her into holy orders, Julie didn't write poetry. She devised a plan. She joined the convent as a novice, waited. When an elderly nun died, Julie placed the nun's body in her lover's bed and set the room on fire. In the chaos and confusion, the two of them escaped into the night. Arson, desecrating a corpse, kidnapping a nun. The charges were absolute. The sentence was death by fire. She was now a fugitive. For years she was on the run, making a living with her sword and her voice at fencing exhibitions. But her talent was too great to hide. She made her way to Paris, auditioned for the prestigious Paris Opera, and her voice, it was undeniable. She became a star, La Maupin, the toast of Paris. And this is where the official story wants to end. The wild girl tamed by fame, a celebrated artist, her criminal past forgotten. It's a neat, tidy story. But that's the trick, isn't it? To make you think the rebellion is over. She wasn't tamed, she was given a bigger stage. The Paris Opera wasn't her redemption, it was her hunting ground. She used her fame as a shield, a license to expose the hypocrisy of the very nobles who paid to watch her sing. And she was about to create a legend that would echo for centuries. The year is 1695. A masked ball filled with the highest society in France. La Maupin is there, dressed as a man. She sees a beautiful young woman and, in front of everyone, kisses her on the mouth. 3 different noblemen, all claiming to be the young woman's suitor, challenge the man to a duel. La Maupin, without revealing her identity, agrees. But not here. Outside, one by one. She meets the first man in the dark courtyard. A few sharp clashes of steel, and he is disarmed, wounded. She tells him, "I believe you've had enough." She meets the second. The fight is harder, but he too is defeated. Then the third. He is skilled, but she is better. She runs him through the shoulder. She defeated all 3 of them, in succession, in the dark. Then she walked back into the ballroom, found the shocked crowd and revealed who she was. She had not only proven she was a better sword fighter than 3 aristocrats combined, she had exposed them as fools who couldn't even protect a woman's honor. The humiliation was absolute. Dueling was illegal. The penalty was death, again. But the king, Louis XIV, heard the story and laughed. La Maupin wasn't just a singer anymore, she was a living legend, an embarrassment to his most pompous nobles. He issued a royal pardon declaring that the laws against dueling applied only to men. This is the key. Julie d'Aubigny's life was such a profound rejection of 17th century rules that the system itself had to bend around her. She lived as both man and woman, criminal and star, sinner and, well, she was never a saint. She was a force of nature that proved that one person's will could shatter an entire society's expectations. The official records of her life are fragmented, her death is quiet, her memory sanitized. They pardoned her, but they tried to dilute her legacy. History is filled with figures like Maupin, rebels whose stories have been silenced. Who else is buried in the archives? What other official stories are just convenient lies? The paper trail is there. It's up to us to find what they buried.